And we have returned to listening to CSC Talker Radio. This is Beth Ann. We are in the final segment of today's show, and we haven't talked about gold or silver yet. And we do have Melody Cedarstrom with us, which is our gold and silver sponsor with discounts. Gold and silver trading. I can't even get it out. But we do have two phone callers, and we're going to ask you to go really quick so we can at least get Melody a little chance to do some commercial time to bring you into the gold and silver. We have Joe from Arkansas. Joe, it's good to hear from you.
Hey, good to hear from you again. Good to be able to hear you again. The show has been really bad.
Good deal.
For quite a while now. But I wanted to comment on a couple of things that you've been talking about. First, I think Neil really hit it on the head when he told us what's really going on with Caravan. And if they're not military age now, they will be in 2 or 3 years. And as far as what Larry said about the Federal Reserve, I understand the bankers have a bag of tricks which they use against presidents whose policies they don't like.
That's right.
One is to raise the interest rate to make the economy slow down, and then they can use their control of the media to blame the economic slowdown on the policies of the president.
Exactly.
Another thing they can do is they can call, and they've done this in the past, of course, and another thing they can do is call in a lot of loans so that all of a sudden a lot of money is taken out of the economy that has to go to pay off these loans. A lot of businesses go bankrupt, the economy gets bad, and then they use the press again to blame, the economic slowdown thereby on the president's policies. And also the bankers like free trade because that favors the giant international corporations that they control, and they don't like protectionism because that favors the smaller independent businesses in the various countries that they don't control. And so when they use their control of the money to cause an economic depression that way, another thing they like to do is blame it on protectionism, like they did that with the depression of the 1930s. They blamed that on the Smoot-Hawley tariffs.
Good points.
So those are some of the tricks that I understand that the bankers use to create bad publicity for a president that they don't like.
Well, I'm glad you shared it because the listeners need to know.
Always about the bankers.
What's that?
The bankers have always been our problem.
Yeah, they have been. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I have to cut you short.
Okay.
I got to go to Dennis real quick. Dennis, you're going to have to be quick because we're just about out of time.
Thank you, Beth Ann, Melody, Dennis Andrew Ball. Listen, the reason I'm contacting you is I'm listening to the show about the Federal Reserve. The bag of tricks the bankers have is their tricks, but we have some tricks up our sleeve, too. Because in 1913, Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve Act, which basically indentured us for over 100 years of debt and interest payments to them. As a consequence, President Kennedy in 1963 signed Executive Order 111110. That electively sent the money from the Federal Reserve into the Treasury. I think that they probably did proceed to kill him. As a consequence, that act has not been rescinded. It is still good. All the debt that has piled up since then does not belong to the American people. Under the Ball Act, that would provide the opportunity to transfer the currency from the Federal Reserve into the U.S. Treasury, and the debt would be canceled. That will free up a tremendous amount of money. He who controls the money controls the government, the size of government. All of that is part of the fair deal. The fair deal would be a fair tax. The income tax, the state income tax.
Okay, I'm going to have to cut you because we're just about out of time, Dennis. But it always goes back to Congress. Congress is the one who allowed this.
That's all great information, and it's accurate information.
It is.
But the problem is what's going to happen to the people who have savings, who have retirement accounts, who have investments? Those people are going to get wiped out, and that's why it's so important. That's why I talk about the importance of owning gold and silver. It isn't just about little buying something here and buying something there. It's there to protect your livelihood in the future. It's there to protect your purchasing power. And, this information is wonderful. It's great, and I'm really glad that Joe and Dennis shared it.
Oh, yeah.
But, we really have to look at the big, how does it help the individual? The individual has to get out there, and they need to convert those fiat dollars because when that debt's wiped out, so is everything else.
Yeah.
So when we default on the debt, and that's what's going to happen. So it will be reset, and people are going to lose. So, hey, if you don't mind losing, 70-80% of what you worked so hard for and thought you were going to have a great retirement, well, no biggie. If you don't have anything that you want to protect or you want to save and you don't want to protect your purchasing power, hey, that's okay. but there's a lot of people out there that do, and that's why gold and silver is so important. And that's why we have gold and silver. We have a little package today. We have 90% silver, $25 face value, and we also have a 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle at $440. And gold and silver is higher today, and these were readjusted with prices yesterday. Gold's up $2 today, and silver's up a couple pennies today. So whether they hold that price today all day, not sure, but this special will hold its price all day and actually longer. But $440, and that also includes your shipping costs.
Okay.
So you can give us a call at 1-800-375-4188.
Let's repeat that, 1-800-375-4188. You know, so many people don't realize what happened with the Federal Reserve, or what happened and is still happening with the Federal Reserve. They give it that word Fed, and it makes it sound like it's a part of our government, but it isn't. It's outside bankers, outsiders, world bankers controlling. It's kind of like like they're the king of the worlds. They control everybody's, just about.
Absolutely, and one of my greatest moments, I was talking to somebody. He said, "Yeah, well, somebody said that the Federal Reserve wasn't the government." And I says, "Well, it's not." And they looked it up on their phone, and it showed, and it was just like, see, that's all you have to do a little research. And people don't like to be preached to, but when they have questions, that's when you can be more powerful with helping them to understand. Nobody listens to people don't want to be preached to. They kind of want to educate themselves, and so that's why stress handing out information and reading materials for people to read. That's where you'll get the most, what I think you'll get the most
information.
Impact.
Well, it hits more when you do it yourself and you figure it all out. It's like, oh, that's what they were trying to tell me. I didn't understand. Yes. And I'm not saying that to mean that people don't understand anything. It's just that we have been so educated the wrong way that it takes a little bit for us to get it turned around and understand what's really going on.
And that's why I always go back to the basics. Because in the world that we live in today, with the media and the false media is on both sides.
Oh yes,
there's so much sensationalism out there. It really is hard to filter through to what the truth might be, and then we can even get a surprise. And it works both. It's on both sides, so it's even extra hard.
It makes it very difficult because in a day and time in a free society, what we should have been, what we were supposed to have been back in the day. We should be able to trust our media, but we can't trust our media anymore at all. We're out of time, Melody. It was a fast hour. She's going to be back. We got 3 Wednesdays in October, so she's going to be back. You've been listening to CSC Talk Radio with Beth Ann and Melody Cedarstrom of Discount Gold and Silver Trading, DGScoins.com, 1-800-375-4188. When you know the truth will set you free. And it will bring America home.